All right, what's going on, everybody? This is my girlfriend, Lily.
Hi.
How's it going? We're making a video. I put on my Instagram a Q&A thing, and we got a bunch of freaking questions. I just figured it'd be cool to have Lily on the channel because I like her a lot, and figured it'd be kind of cool to just do an interview and give you guys a bit more perspective on what things look like for me a bit more personally. So, be kind of cool. We have a ton of questions. There's a lot of crossover, a lot of the same questions. But I'm going to start with the most obvious one, which is how we met.
Yeah.
So let's just start there because I feel like that's going to give people a lot of good context. So how did we meet?
Well, short answer is we met at Bible study. Mm-hmm. There's a Monday night Bible study that our friend Sam Sommerson puts on. Mm-hmm. And there's a local high school, middle school group, and then they graduated out of high school and they wanted
And I used to go to that group.
Yeah, I didn't. So we would have met if I'd been invited. So we would have met then, but I never ended up going, actually.
Yeah.
But met at Sam's group. I had only been going for probably 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm. And I'd known Sam for forever, so I'd gone to it a year before you ever went. But I stopped going for a long time just to work on my business. Monday evenings were freaking busy for me. Mm-hmm. So I stopped going, and then I went back for the first time in 8 months. Mm-hmm. And I saw you there. And
he thought I was pretty.
Yeah, I thought she was super cute, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna make a move. And so that evening, you didn't have a ride to. We were going out to get food, and she didn't have a ride, and I was just like, hey, get a ride with me, and she was like,
dude that you just meet asks you to get in his car to go to Chick-fil-A.
Honda Civic, man. My Honda Civic's my wingman. So
Edmund.
I named him Edmund. Yeah. So then, didn't your brother came with us too, and then I hit it off really well with your brother, and that's one of the things that you said, you said it was really cool that I would hit it off with your brother really quick.
I thought it was really, because my brother has high-functioning autism, so he's a little quirky, and so people who just genuinely treat him well, treat him like a dude that's, cool, are just very cool to me, so
and that was cool,
nice and it didn't seem like he was forcing it, so... No. I really appreciate it. My
little brother Ty, so you guys unfortunately know very little about, because I've just isolated and worked on my business for the past year and a half. But my nuclear, immediate family, I've got a younger brother. He's got autism as well. He grew up with a cleft lip and speech impediment and mild autism. So I was totally used to it. So it was cool that was the first thing that she noticed about me, because it just came very naturally. And then at food, I think we went to Chick-fil-A. I just kind of was making some jokes across the table or whatever, and just kind of making her realize how amazing I am subtly. And that evening,
so stupid.
I dropped you off at your house, and I got your Instagram, I think.
Yeah, well, I had asked you if you had taken the Enneagram.
That's
right. And you said that you took MBTI, and so I was like
INFJ, ENTP. That's the Myers-Briggs.
Right. I was like, I can give you I can tell you about the website if you want. And you're like, yeah, you could just send it to me over Instagram.
That was the move that I made. and so
very
that I had
smooth.
a form of contact. I'm a salesman, it just came very naturally. Just, don't ask for the clothes too hard. You got to warm them up a little bit. So then I got her Instagram. And then the next day, I was literally the next day, I was like, hey, we should go get coffee.
Yeah.
Because this was... I was moving fast because honestly, this was during a time in my business where I was pushing really freaking hard. I had more agency clients at that time, and there was more going on the education side than ever. I was probably at the time doing 20 to 30 a month at the time, and so we've scaled up a lot since. But at the time, that was the first time we started seeing multiple 5 figures, and it was a lot of freaking work. And so I was just it was my first week off.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
And so
he told me that it was his first week off.
And since I started.
Much, ever. And he was like, yeah, I just kind of want to hang out. I'm doing absolutely nothing this week. And I was cool.
Yeah, I was I'm doing nothing this week. And I remember as my week off started to end, I got afraid that I wouldn't have time to hang out with you. Because I was pretty certain that I wanted to date you. And I was just coming out of another relationship at that time. I wasn't even really looking for a proper relationship.
That's so I started going to the Bible study because of past relationship things hadn't quite worked out, and I realized it was kind of just I wasn't looking into relationships for the right reasons, and I really kind of just gave it up to God, and that way I was like, whoever you want to bring, like, in God's timing.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't realize that God's timing can be a really long time, but it can also be, like,
Next
literally next week. So
so for sure that was the thing for me, and I think I've made it pretty obvious that I'm Christian on this channel at this point. If you haven't figured that out yet, that's the case. So yeah, I mean, it was definitely like at that point I'd broken up with my previous girlfriend, who some of you may even remember, like on Instagram stories and stuff. And we're still very cordial, like everything's fine. It just didn't quite work out, and I was pretty ready to just not date for 5-6 years. I mean, I know a lot of people who do really well for themselves, and they just honestly don't care about women for like their early 20s. And I'm like, that was kind of about to be me. And
I ruined it.
And then she ruined the entire plan. So now I'm screwed. Please help. So the next question is.
You're the worst.
So I'm just looking at my Instagram here. So that's how we met.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, it was like the end of that week. I took you out to like a really nice dinner or something. Was it then when I asked you, like, hey, can I consider you my girlfriend?
Yeah, you were like, can I call you?
Can I call you my girlfriend?
Can I call you my something like that?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah.
Yeah. So it was like within a week of knowing her, I'd have gone on 2 coffee dates and took her out to a nice dinner. And then I just charmed her into it. And then I was like, all right.
It was probably like a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks in, to knowing each other. And you were like,
yeah.
Are you my girlfriend?
I mean, I totally respect the whole, like, be friends before you date thing. But also, like, if you know that, you know, just ask the hard questions up front. Like, I remember our first date. Like, I was like I was, I mean, you know, it can scare some people off, but, like, I had a week off. This was the most, like, busy time in my career ever. And I was like,
He was in there for efficiency.
Dude, I was like, I'm here to check off some, like, boxes with you and, like, see if we could work out. Because I really like how, because the first thing that I noticed about it was just how she handled the other women in the group. Mm-hmm. And, like, just, you know, you're just super sweet. And, like, I could tell just immediately that you'd be a very balancing force for me. So it's like, Rick, like, I'm just going to take a stab.
Yeah, we're, like, basically opposites.
Yeah, very opposite. We'll get to that. Very opposing forces in how we think.
Next question.
So in terms of like time budgeting, this seems to be like a very common theme for a lot of people. Like, how do you like budget time? So like other guys who are in relationships or women who are in relationships, particularly like still at the girlfriend boyfriend level, obviously like once you're married, it's like they take precedent for sure. Mm-hmm. Like if they need something, you know, I'm gonna move a client meeting, but there has to be a middle ground there. It's not like she can just come in and say like, hey, you have to do, and I'm not allowed to do that for her either. But at a boyfriend-girlfriend level, I don't know, like, for me, it's just been like, I don't know, what has your experience been in dating me? Like, do I feel available? Do I feel like how do I handle wanting to do things? Like, it's kind of hard for me to speak to that because I have my perspective.
Right.
So,
well,
I don't know, like, time budgeting.
Time budgeting, I feel like it's kind of just having, if you're the significant other of the entrepreneur, like you're entrepreneur and then you're the significant other, I think it's just having a lot of understanding and empathy for how their schedule works, and like try to get a good sense of what their days look like, but generally like leave it up to them essentially. Mm-hmm. To kind of figure out when is the best time. Yeah. Especially if you have like a more structured schedule as far as your job goes, or
which I do. I've got like very clear start and end times for my work day.
So if you know essentially like what their day will look like, you can kind of schedule around that. And also one thing that's helped us a lot is having one day a week that we've completely like scheduled out. Like we sit down at the beginning of the month and we choose one day for every week that we know we're gonna go on a date. So then there's like, you know, there's a specific scheduled time, which is what he really thrives in. Yeah. And then he's like, I can go above and beyond that if I can. And so honestly, we hang out a lot.
Yeah, we do spend a lot of time together.
Like most evenings. He's done with work. I'll
drive down and we'll figure something out. Or I mean, I end my work day at like 6 or 7. Like this is one of the things that I train a lot of our students on, because I seriously believe that, like, you know, if you give yourself permission to work all day, you give yourself permission to do things that don't matter. And so, like, if you say, like, all right, by 6 or 7, I'm freaking done. And what you're forcing yourself to do is, like, recognize the key revenue-generating activities in your business, and you commit to them. And, the battery's running low. The video might cut anytime, but we'll just pick it back up. I'll just put another battery in. But, yeah, like, I cut off at, like, 6 or 7. And, like, then I'm just at your place, or we go do something, or you come up here, or, you know, we'll walk around downtown. I mean, I live in a really nice area. There's a lot of nice restaurants around here. Mm-hmm. Like this evening, we might go on a nice date. Like she's got to change her clothes if we want to dress up or whatever. Like it's just very fluid. But then I do have, like she said, that one day a week where I know that evening we're going to do something, because I might be in the middle of like a crazy push and I don't want to have to be on my phone while I'm with her. And then I think you guys are clear on this. Like, I take Sundays off. So I don't work Sundays. And some people think it's purely for religious reasons. It's in part that, but also it's just like efficiency.
It's a really cool
like,
business thing. And then Sundays, like, we don't always hang out together.
Yeah.
Like, that's a free day for him to be able to take mental space, emotional space, spiritual space, to relax or let go or process. But to come back to the question, essentially, is like empathy, if you are the significant other of an entrepreneur, for their schedule and like that, they are incredibly like driven, busy people, and having like some grace for that when either plans could fall through or when they have to spend the evening working. And then for entrepreneurs, I feel like you've done a really good job of specifically carving out the time and putting in the effort, because a lot of entrepreneurs, I feel like, can fall into that trap of like, well, my work is so important, and it is, and hopefully your partner like agrees with you there and pushes you to be better. And you've
never questioned like the insane amount of intense focus I put into my work, which is a really important thing. Like, you don't want somebody on board who's like, are you sure about, like, she's never once questioned it. From the start, she's understood it. Like,
crush it. Have a great day. I'll see you later, hopefully.
Right. It's just been very understanding. And like, you know, we've talked very intently, like, if we do get married, what that structure would look like. And that's also for you guys, like, if you have a significant other and you're you know, getting serious, or you might get serious or anything, like, start structuring your days with like a set beginning time and a set end time.
That's been huge for you.
It's been freaking huge.
Really good for us. And then, so like for the significant others, empathy, understanding, and also like you do have to kind of stick up for what's important to you. Because there have been days where I'm like, I really want you to take this day off or start at this time so that we can do this.
And then for me, there's been days where I'm like, you know, I really cannot hang out with you this evening. So it's both ways. You just have a lot of understanding. So it'll be like, look, I mean, I would love to hang out with you, but right now I cannot miss this meeting. I know it goes above my 6 p.m. thing, but it's like, you know, we have clients that pay us like multiple 5 figures up front, like, and that's just raw profit for the agency. I can't ignore that. And I have to be like, look, as much as I care about and love you, I don't want to lose this client, and I have to do this right now. Or, you know, we've got a fire that I have to put out. And so just understanding in both directions and knowing that at the end of the day, like, if everything were perfect, we'd totally spend time together, but it just, maybe it can't always happen.
This is like incredibly, like, it could seem kind of out there and like, but as coming from two people who, he's incredibly work oriented, and it's because it comes from a very deep motivation and passion for it. And then I'm incredibly relationship and connection oriented, and that comes from my own motivation. That's why the Enneagram is really helpful. Like, it's really possible to not be so surface level in your head and pushing for those things for selfish reasons. It's like good to understand the person from a core level and not just, oh, he works all the time. It's
like you don't want to surface, you want to understand the intent behind everything.
He doesn't think I'm clingy. I don't think he's a workaholic.
Like we've never accused each other of that, even though if all you knew about me was how much I worked, you'd probably accuse me of being a workaholic. And if all you knew about her was how much time she wants to spend, you'd think she's clingy. But like, if you look at intent behind things, everything makes sense. So that's a huge thing that has been good. Because like, and the reason we know so much about how to do this is because like, I'm honestly not an easy guy to have a relationship with. Like, I cannot just dip and hang out with you. I just can't. Like, I'm not a college student with an optional class. I'm running a business, and this is a part of my future family and my kids and the legacy that I want to leave. And so it's like, my advice to you guys, if you're a guy especially, don't find a woman that questions it. Just, that is not an option. If they are, at the start, they might be like, why do you work so much? And if you explain it and it makes sense to them, dude, like, lock it in as soon as you can. And that was one of the most attractive things about Lily, was that I didn't, like, when I told you what I do and how it works, I mean, you know, and I was not very open about specifically how much I made or anything like that.
He told me about it the first night I met him, and he was was like, oh yeah, I own a marketing agency.
And she was like, oh, another one of these.
Cool. No, I was like, cool. Like, I had no idea what it was. I was like, let's go to Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, she had no idea. I'm like, yeah, I run a marketing agency, and I help people start marketing agencies. And she's like, okay, and like, it did not click. She had like no idea.
It did take him explaining it a lot more for me to kind of understand where he was coming from with a lot of it.
And how it works and everything.
And I did a lot of research on 3s when I found out you were a 3.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know a lot
Enneagram, you're either a 1 through a 9. So she's super into Enneagram. So when she found out I was a 3, which is very success driven, bet you a lot of you were 3s. I'll actually leave like the link to the test that works in the description, because that's a huge thing for Lily. It's been super helpful for me. And that's actually, the business that she's starting an Enneagram coaching. Basically, the idea is that, if you don't understand yourself, you're sleepwalking. And I've been,
gives you your why to everything.
It's been freaking huge for me. Like, I have broken through revenue gaps in my business. Like, we've moved crazy far since I began to understand myself. Like, Myers-Briggs only goes so far.
Myers-Briggs, the thing about Myers-Briggs is it's your nature. It's the filters that are what are already in your brain when you're born. And then the Enneagram is messages that you heard as a child.
Right. Wounds.
That you're overcompensating for, essentially, in your life. And
Yeah.
the reason you do what you do is because of those motivations and those fears. And if we don't realize what those fears and motivations are, then we have no idea what we're doing or why. Or why we're doing what we're doing. And knowing that helps you direct your life more intentionally and helps you understand your relationships more intentionally.
So it's funny because Lily doesn't consider herself a very driven person, but she's also that's a very valuable thing. And so I can meet her and help her start a business off of that. Like when I met you, we were planning on going to college to get like a
art history PhD.
And I was like, please don't do that. All right. So battery just died, but basically we were talking about like, you were going to college to get an art history degree.
Yeah.
And I came in and was like,
can't you teach that online somehow? And I was like, I don't know. And I was like, if I'm going to teach something online, I could do Enneagram.
Yeah, like why would I do art history if there's something I already understand?
Because I was helping you a lot with it. And I was like, I could really, because I like being able to practically help. And I'm very emotionally intelligent.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And she's not just like up her own butt about that. Like genuinely, she is.
Yeah,
and it's
I'm not trying to be like, I'm emotionally intelligent.
Yeah, like it's been very helpful for me, like even navigating like certain client issues and like understanding myself better in my business. So the long-term vision for her, like we've talked about this very intently. Like let's say we get married, we move into life together. Like I'm gonna run the business from the front end, and like there's gonna be some role that she plays with our clients or with the students in our community, or running her own business as well as coming in as a consultant for my business and playing a big role in like the emotional end of it, because I'm a systems thinker and I'm like, I'm very practical. Not that emotional intelligence isn't practical, but I'm just like, I see it all as numbers, and sometimes like even my relationships can be like categorized. So like if like for example, one of the things that happened recently was even her dad was like, hey, I kind of miss hanging out with you, dude. And the problem was, once I had his approval, like that he liked me, I was like, sweet, I don't have to hang out with you anymore. Like it's just like I'm very to do.
Not that he doesn't like my dad, but that he thinks, like that's how he thinks about relationships.
That's how I think about it.
Like kind of like checklist boxes of loving people. And like to him that seems very loving, and to other people it can seem really insensitive.
Right.
But it's just like how his brain works and how like his Enneagram number works versus how
I'm just pretty transactional naturally. So and she really balances that out. So let's keep hitting these questions. We've got tons more. So another really great question that was asked by one of the people on Instagram was, if something happens in your relationship, do you not let it affect you? Like, do you try and actively practice like Stoicism? And I think there's a healthy version of Stoicism, and I think there's a really unhealthy version of Stoicism. I think like a healthy version of Stoicism is making a logical, emotional case for why something that is bothering you shouldn't bother you as much as it is. I think unhealthy Stoicism is just shoving things down and not caring. So like, things have popped up in our relationship. Like I've gotten angry at her for things, and she's gotten angry at me for things. But like, I don't let that sit. I don't think Stoicism by any means is like a good reason to like put somebody to the side and like not care about them. But yeah, like 100%, things have messed with me. But like, just like, a big issue with a client would mess with me. Like you get on that, you turn it into action steps. So I'm a very action-oriented problem solver. Like if I've made her upset or she's made me upset, or we had a conversation that ended negatively, I'll just be like, all right, how do I fix this? Like, and I think it's very important to come in with just a humble heart and know that you're not perfect and that you can like work through things. And it's, the fact, I think it's a huge deal if you're an entrepreneur to find a girl or a guy who will understand that you're not always going to have the mental space to show up perfectly every time. Right. Like I'll be at her house, or she'll be here, or we'll be out on a date, and I'll just be freaking out of it. Like I'm just checked out. I had 8 back-to-back meetings today. I had, a big refund, or I had these issues come through, And
that's been an issue with us before.
It's been an issue.
Like he's been on his phone a lot at dates because there's a big issue happening, and like there has to be, you know, there's a little bit of, you know, obviously like hurt on my side of like I'm hanging out with you right now. I'd really like if you'd get off your phone, but also there has to be a level of grace there, especially if he's going through something heavy. Like it's a delicate kind of thing to handle, and I think that stoicism can be really valuable, but also never handling it and not letting it affect you can be really unhealthy.
Yeah.
It can, not letting it affect you can be practical for like the moment, but also I think that it's good to just be like, I can feel this. I have a few calls and then I'll handle it later. Like knowing that you're eventually going to fix the problem, and using that kind of as your stoicism is like, not I won't let it affect me, but I'll deal with this later.
That's really good. That's really good. So another question that we got, I got like 8 of this. Like
Okay.
same question for different people. Like what is it, like you don't have to rub warm butter on my ego here, but like what is it genuinely like dating me, and what have been like not that this is going to be like a portfolio for future women or something, but like what's it been like? Like what's your experience so far? Because, you know, and I'd love to share what's been like dating her, but this is my channel and people follow me, so I guess that's a reasonable question to ask. Like what's it been like? Like who am I to you? It's kind of an interesting question.
5 stars on Yelp.
5 stars. Sweet.
No, I love that we balance each other a lot. Is like, I think that contrast and complementary are 2 very different things. And I don't think that we're really contrast. I think we're very complementary. So like, I'm emotionally intelligent and you're very like logically intelligent.
Yeah.
And you're very action oriented and I'm very like, I have a hard time getting going and like,
Yeah.
So I think that we balance each other really well. And I've told you this 1,000 times, like before we've been on a YouTube video. But I love that you see potential in people, like genuinely. It's not like a fake or like potential that people don't see in themselves, you see. And I really love that about you. I love your heart for the Lord and like for other people. I think that you're very, like a very steady force in my life for sure. Cause I can be very overwhelmed emotionally sometimes, and you kind of help bring me back to earth.
Yeah.
And like give me ways that I can either fix the problem or you can just be there with me emotionally, which you're really good at. Like I feel like you don't give yourself enough credit in that way of like that you are very good with emotions and like handling me gently. I feel like.
Yeah.
As far as like challenges, has been that you can get very in your head about things, with like business and with us and family and things like that. You get very in your head and very overwhelmed, and I feel like I help you generally kind of sort through that. Not quite as like systematically as you help me, but
Right.
like making you actually sit in the emotion and feel it for a minute before you jump into action.
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes we communicate. Well, actually, we communicate amazingly. Which is, I guess I was gonna say challenges.
Yeah, like just don't leave anything unturned, man.
Yeah.
Like if you're running a business, don't leave some freaking ball and chain conversation that needs to happen. Like,
Yeah.
don't leave things. Just deal with it right. Like if you hurt them, say you're freaking sorry and just keep moving because
Or if
it's.
they hurt you, say, "Hey, you hurt me."
Yeah, like I've come to her and said, "Babe, I'm mad at you
Yeah,
right now."
he was on
And-
the phone with me. He's like, so I feel like I'm mad at you.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm
okay,
mad
let's
at you,
talk
and I'm
about
not really
it.
sure why right now, and
Yeah.
I'm just kind of mad at you, and she's like, okay, why is that? And you need to just have trust that there's no ill intent in saying that. Like, I'm just freaking mad at you right now, and I want to talk about why, because I don't want to be mad at you. It's not I'm mad at you and I want you to feel the pain of me being mad at you.
Right.
It's I'm mad at you and I want to fix
That's
it.
the problem is when you're in a relationship and it's I'm mad at you and I want you to feel that.
Yes.
Like I want you to feel hurt by me being mad at you.
Yeah.
It's like the communication isn't that. It's like I'm mad at you and I kind of want to figure this out and I don't know why I'm mad at you.
Yeah.
Or I'm mad at you and I know why. And
Yeah.
I feel like just being open about literally, which is something we're great at. And he's helped me a lot with this because I have a very hard time expressing like my own emotions or really even knowing them
Out
sometimes.
of fear of like hurting people if
Rejection
she's upset.
and like,
yeah.
yeah, so you've helped me. I've called him on the phone and like I've been like, hey, I'm mad at you, which was a huge step for me.
Yeah.
But it's like we're very comfortable with each other in that way of like knowing that there's security there, and that if I say what I'm feeling right now, you won't condemn me for it.
Yeah, and it's like, it really, you guys have probably heard me say, like, how you do anything is how you do everything. Mm-hmm. And I just have this across the board business, relationships, everything motto. Like, if something broke that day, I'm not, like, I'm going to fix it.
Address it.
Like, address it right then and there. Like, if, like, the tax bill comes in, it's a little steep, just pay it. Just get it out of the way. I promise you, the ball and chain isn't worth having around. Mm-hmm. If a big client asked for a refund and made a really freaking good case why you should give it to him, just do it and move on, because I promise you, you'll make a lot more money selling to people that are excited to work with you, that you can get results to. If there's an issue, just freaking address it.
I've told him
don't
this
leave it
before.
set.
Is like, if you address the problem and like get their input as to why it didn't work, you'll do better doing that than trying to ignore the problem and like do cover-up work.
Yeah, like I hate damage control.
Damage control, like you ask them straight up, like, what went wrong, what can I fix, and then you do it for somebody else who's more excited to work with you.
Right.
So
that's exactly it. So like, it's really, I think it's just having a successful business and successful relationships. And I'm by no means like, I'm 20. Like, I haven't married her. My business is only so big. There's people out there making way freaking more, doing way better. But, like, I do think that it's important to have a set of principles that you subscribe to. And one of my favorites is just how you do anything is how you do everything. So, really, like, having somebody in your life that kind of humbles you. And, like, because, like, honestly, my business, like, babe, I get all day, like, Trey, you're amazing. I'm so happy to be working with you. You're incredible. Like, and that's great. Like, it's cool to get validation, but your ego can get freaking huge.
That's so funny because you're an idiot sometimes.
Because I'm an idiot. I'm a
idiot.
total idiot sometimes. Like, I wish you guys just, like, knew. I genuinely, like, I
he needs
really
to clean
wish.
out the lint filter in his dryer.
I forget to clean the lint filter in my dryer. Like,
He's
that's
going to burn down this whole building.
Yeah, seriously, that's, like, I'm really good at marketing, and, like, that's it. Like, that's the only thing I have going for me, guys. Please don't think I'm something I'm not.
Well, one of the things you told me was that you liked that I kind of like I like your business. I think that it's cool for you, but also I kind of don't care.
She doesn't give a rip. Like, she just doesn't care, and that's what you need to like not to throw around the term and not to sound like kind of douchey, but like, just don't go for gold diggers. If you're doing well, like, be very slow to introduce what you're making. Test the waters a little bit, get to know them as a person. One of the attractive things about you is that, you grew up on, like, a really average income, like, just super normal. Like, if my whole business fails and I need to start from scratch, like, I genuinely don't think you'd give a rip.
I think that having somebody who way, way hypes you up and somebody who just hates what you do are both extremes that you don't need. Like, you don't need somebody who's, like, bringing you down and humbling you. You don't need somebody who's consistently, like, keeping you on a pedestal.
Yeah.
And this isn't to, like, pat my own back.
Yeah. No, I don't think it is. I think it's just good advice.
I don't sound like that.
No.
I just mean that, like, having that good middle ground of, like, yeah, I think that you're super cool and rad, and I'm proud of you for everything that you're putting into this. And
yeah, like, hearing I'm proud of you is like, sometimes can
like
mean
your
more
drug.
than it really is like a drug for me. It's like to hear I'm proud of you, like, from my dad or mother or some of my siblings or, like, people that are close to me. Like, I'm proud of you is one of those phrases that means a frick lot to me. Like, that is, like, the most important thing that I can hear, and she knows that. And
I throw it his way all the time.
Yeah, you throw it
because I know
all the
that
freaking
that's
time.
what he appreciates.
And then what she needs to hear, because this is Enneagram stuff too, it's like freaking helpful. What I need to hear is I'm proud of you. What she needs to hear is you are all that you need to be, and I love you for where you are now. I love you for you. You don't have to do anything. And can I tell the story of when you cook something? Can I do that?
Yeah.
All right, is that okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
She came over to cook dinner. Gosh, and she literally, this is hilarious. This is like,
no.
She came over to cook something, and we went out and we got all the ingredients and everything. And I'm sorry, she literally might get emotional. Like, it's okay. And she cooked the thing, and it was bad.
It was terrible.
It was horrible.
It was so
it tasted like crap.
It did.
It was really
It tasted
bad.
like feet.
It
I don't know how
literally
I did that.
tasted like sweaty feet.
Don't saute cauliflower.
Don't
That's all I
saute
can say.
cauliflower.
At least not the way I did.
Yeah, I don't know what you did, babe. It was just, I mean, normally your cooking's really freaking good. Like,
Yeah,
99% of the time your cooking's amazing. And I think I need to say that right now to keep you from, like, crying.
I'm not gonna cry. Shut up.
Okay, all right. Uh, but I mean, normally it's really good. And then she came over, she cooked something, and it was really bad, and she broke down.
I cried on and off for about 45 minutes.
Yeah. And so what she needs is to hear, hey, you.
It doesn't matter. Let's DoorDash something.
And we ended up DoorDashing like burgers or something. Like
Yeah, we got 5 guys.
we got 5 guys like shakes, like super unhealthy.
Yeah.
Like I'll sometimes just bum out, and like it's mostly just with Lily when I like just want to chill. Because I can't be on all the freaking time.
That's a Chipotle burrito like almost every day.
Chipotle burritos are good for you if you don't have like all the. Anyway, yeah, I mean, so she was crying for like 45 minutes, like on and off, and I was like having to like reaffirm, and like, and what's interesting is we can get into this loop where like she needs reaffirming, and I'm just like I can't do that right now. I can't reaffirm over, and it's just But then, and so there needs to be a lot of understanding there. So basically, it's just. When you start to get to know somebody, whether it's a friend or a girlfriend or a business partner or even like a client, like get to know their intent and why they do what they do so that you can know how to handle them at their best and their worst. And that's been a huge lesson. And I've had a great model of like a good marriage, and so has she. Like we both grew up under like a successful like mother-father figure household. And so I think that gives us a huge advantage and like a good model to run our lives off of. So I think, a lot of people might see this and wonder, why they consider these things and don't just, like have normal 20-year-old stuff going on. But, it's just because, I don't play games. Like, I just don't play games. I'm
Neither
here.
do I.
And that's, you need that. So let's hit another question here. See what else we got. A lot of it was the same stuff. So, like, we got a lot of the same questions because there's not much. It's like, how did you guys meet? Where did you meet your girlfriend? We answered that. Does she have any interest in starting her own agency? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think she's, you don't have any interest in starting your own marketing agency. Really?
My marketing agency? No.
No.
Just the
But the coaching
Enneagram
business.
coaching.
Yeah,
business.
like the coaching business. Like, I have her
'Cause you
going
can-
through, like, a bunch of courses and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Because you can learn like your Enneagram number and take a test and be like, okay, and then you just kind of file it away with all the other personality stuff and be like,
Right.
oh, that's interesting, but then there's
Right.
no actual growth work that people
Right.
do.
Yeah. So, like, yeah, it's.
Digging deep.
So she's definitely got like some entrepreneur blood in her that I don't think she realized that she had. And like she said earlier, one of my things is that I just see potential in people, and I think I saw that from the start with her.
Yeah.
And I think we were really lucky that your parents were cool with you just not going to college. Like once they learned what I do and how I do it, and saw that and they knew that they even learned that I didn't even finish high school. So like they kind of were like, all right, sweet. So you can do something. And I don't think you'd ever even considered an opportunity outside of college at that point, did you?
Really.
So yeah, it was very new. But when you believe in what you do, guys, like it's very easy to convince people because it's such an easy. It makes so much more sense than going the traditional route. Are you seeing anything now? Oh, there you go. You found it. And cut any of these gaps out, Keely. Like if we're not talking, just cut them. So great question from Jamie Oliver. He said, "What happens when the girl has no entrepreneurial spirit and doesn't understand long after hours?" Honestly, that's like something. If you're like a year in with a girl and they don't understand that yet, it's honestly because you probably set off on the wrong stage. Like I made it very clear from the start. I'm like, I work freaking hard, and I'm not going to be 100% accessible. So honestly, like if a girl like doesn't understand it, like
You can't necessarily make her
you
understand
can't
it.
make her understand it. So I would say that's just not a good fit. Honestly, or they have some growing to do, or maybe you have some growing to do if
It's
you have
either-
high expectations.
If every other area of your life works and it's just the work part of it, either there needs to be some sort of like counseling or something for you guys to gain empathy for each other because, I mean, that's tricky. But if you're not going to support each other, then that's a huge thing in a relationship.
Yeah, like you shouldn't just look for her to support you. You should
Right.
also support her too, in the way that she wants to be supported. So really, the measuring stick that you use will be the same one used on you. And so, like, if you want support from her, you got to support her first, because the only person you can really control is yourself. But that being said, if you're doing all you can do and she just doesn't get it, like, dude, honestly, it's probably not a good fit. I just move on. Because I've my very first relationship, and granted, I was probably like a total jerk at the time. I was like 17, and you guys know my story. Like, I was not in a good place emotionally. My first relationship, I had to end it just because I felt such a severe lack of like support for the decisions that I was making at the time. Like, I knew I wanted to go into business, knew I wanted to do my own thing, and I just felt total lack of support. And granted, at the time, I was really shoving it down her throat. Like I was like, you shouldn't go to college. You shouldn't do this, even though she'd already made her decision. So really got to understand that whether they're going to college or what they're doing, like you all want to end up at the same destination, which is just happy, healthy relationships, a good amount of money, and that's all you really need. So you shouldn't impose your way of life on somebody, but if you're doing all you can do for them to support you and they're still not, like...
If you're communicating from the heart of why it's important to you and they're still not hearing you out and still not supporting you, then that's probably not a good fit. But if it's surface level hurt and different motivations, that could probably be worked out. Mm-hmm. But if it's honest, you're thoroughly explaining why it's important to you, what you see in the relationship, what you see for your business, and you're expressing those things, and they're still not supporting you, that may be kind of a line in the sand.
That's probably something...
Because, I easily could have a lot of resentment for him having long hours or, you set start and end times. But,
I set my expectations.
I could easily be resentful for a lot of things.
It's like a client.
Right. But it's
set expectations early. Same deal,
You're so funny.
Under promise, over deliver.
He said...
Yeah. Is there another question there, Lisa?
Yeah.
I feel like you found some.
I like this one. How do you motivate each other for success and at the same time remain humble? I think that's a really good one.
That's a good one.
That's a really good question.
I don't know. Do you want me to answer that? I kind of feel like I have a good idea.
You can answer it and then I'll answer it.
Yeah, sure. Okay, sweet. So, how do we motivate each other for success? I'll be honest, she doesn't necessarily motivate me to go out and make a bunch of money. That comes from me.
Right.
That's my motivation. I want that. I want to do really well in business. I want to, have these $200,000 months. These are my goals. I want to go crazy. She honestly couldn't give a rip about the money. She just wants me to stay emotionally, spiritually sound and to stay a consistent emotional and spiritual force for her. And if we get married, our family, our kids. And that matters to me more than money too. This, my belief is that 17 to 25, your goal is to, especially as a man, if I'm raising a guy, I'm going to tell him dude, the second you turn 17, 18, hustle mode, go crazy, build something that can help your future family. So it's my motivation, and I don't think that she necessarily motivates me more, but I do think she gives me a much more wholesome motivation other than buying another watch, because we've talked very intently on getting married, and at this point we're pretty sure that's what's going to happen. It's better than being motivated to going and buying another watch or just having an empty revenue goal just for the sake of it. But I'm also not afraid of having just material goals. For a long time, that's what it was. This apartment, nice watches, whatever. I wanted to get a nice car. I never ended up doing that. Mm-hmm. She doesn't motivate me to make more money, but she does motivate me in ways that do end up reflecting in the business for sure. I feel like that's good. Is that the whole question? And remaining humble.
As far as the remaining humble, and I think motivation and encouragement are two very different things, because encouragement is seeing value in people and then speaking to that value. I feel like so I see a lot of value in him as far as his passion for what he does and his, I'll challenge him sometimes and why are you doing this right now? Is it out of desperation or is it out of abundance and a place of feeling that blessing from God that you wouldn't be here without him and without your family and the people that you love, and you wouldn't be here without a lot of things. So I think that motivating him for success looks more like encouraging him and speaking truth to his gifts and encouraging him to stay humble is a big part of the motivation. Because if he's building something successful, that could, go to his, I don't know how to explain this.
Could go to my head.
Yeah, that's kind of
I feel like you're explaining it really well. I don't know, where do you feel like you're getting lost? I feel like you make sense.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I feel like
then
it makes
that's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just mean that
it's not encouraging me to make more money. It's encouraging me in who I am. And
who I am. You to have good character or the good character that you have, and to work towards what you're passionate about.
Yeah.
But
it's not hey Trey, go make $10,000 this week. It's
it's
Trey, you
have a good week this week. feel good, remember your blessings, remember that people love you.
And that
Crush
translates into me doing really well. Like,
Yeah.
this business is built off of my principles that I live my life by, and she encourages those principles, not the result of them.
Right.
I think that's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, I don't encourage success, I encourage character.
Yeah, character. I think hopefully that answers that question. And in terms of staying humble, like,
Yeah.
honestly, you know, and this is a hard one, I think, for a lot of like young dudes who are doing well. Like, the immediate, like, honestly, the easiest option is just to be a total jerk, because, like, you know, you've got like what people like. Literally, I've heard this phrase in the industry. I don't know if you've heard of this, babe, but people are like, I want to have F money. I'm like, really? That's what you want? Like, you want FU money? Okay, so you want to be lonely and have
Resentful.
a crap and resentful of everybody in your life? Got it. Cool.
Right.
I will see you at the top, and we will have totally different lives on the back end. So, you know, I just think that it's good to have like a foundational belief system.
Allow people to call you a douche every once in a while.
Yeah, like, just hear it and be like, you're kind of right, maybe. You know, and like, you know, I've had to hear it. Like, you know, my family's challenged me every now and again. She's challenged me. And you just got to understand that, like, you know, even if you feel like your ego's in a great place, it's a very big ego thing to expect others to see that. And that's a huge lesson I've learned
It's
recently.
like I'm in a great place. See, look at me
See,
being in a great place.
look at me being very humble. Like you don't have to, like, if you are genuinely in a good place, then you wouldn't need others to see that. That's one of the huge things that I've learned as I've grown my business. Like, you know, because I think a lot of people do look for that validation through their business, and that's not healthy in the first place. But if you are looking for validation through your business, and you're going to look through validation for like how much money you make, you want to share that just for the sake of it. And a lot of the translation issue, like for a lot of the friends in my life, like I'll post on Instagram, like, hey, we did like 70 grand this month or whatever, you know, like our clients, you know, about to do 100 grand this month or whatever. And they'll see that just as a shallow flex, but I understand that it's marketing. And I know that that's like a necessary part of my business. And so I've had to sit down and like explain that to my family and explain it to some people and be like, hey, you know, I'm not just out here like looking for validation. This is what I do, and I love doing it, and I'm helping people with it, and it's a part of the pie. Like, it's a part of my marketing system. So I need to do that. So just having those genuine conversations with people, I think, is really important, in staying humble and not letting people, not letting people's positive or negative views of you go to your head, positive or negative. Like, just having an opinion of yourself and working on that opinion constantly. I mean, when do you think it's a good time to start dating?
Yeah.
That's a good one. So Jacob Moria, I think, hopefully I'm saying your name right, dude. Says, when do you think it's a good time to start dating? Like, at what point in your business? And honestly, like, this is a personal decision. I don't know if I could tell you, man. Like, you know,
It happened that we met on his week off.
yeah,
But honestly, like,
I wasn't planning on it.
yeah.
I wasn't out to get a girlfriend.
We were both like, we don't care about dating right now.
Yeah,
And then God was like,
yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. I hate to just be like, I don't know, dude, whatever. But, like, honestly, like, you know, I think my honest advice, okay, here's my honest advice. Build the foundation first. Like, I'd say if you see yourself being an entrepreneur as you move into a relationship of any kind, like, it's a hard thing to navigate being a beginner and not having the proof that what you've got going on works and that it's worth pouring into. Like, if you're not making at least, like, full-time from it, I would say wait until you're doing that. Wait until you're at least full-time with it so that when you do introduce that, hey, this is what I do, it's got some meat to it. And you're not...
doesn't feel quite as shaky.
It doesn't feel quite as shaky because especially if you're the guy, like, you know, this is just natural roles. Like, you know, 80-90% of men want to go and provide. 80-90% of women, you know, they enjoy being provided for. And so as a guy, my role is to go and build that. And if I introduced to Lily, like, hey, I run a marketing agency, and I was like, I had like one client, and like, I had no freaking idea how to scale this thing. I didn't know what I was doing. Like,
I probably wouldn't have been all that comfortable going out with you or starting a relationship
yeah,
with you.
probably not.
Like, because if you have a good foundation and you have a good direction and like trajectory, then they can more easily have a lot of faith in you.
Yeah.
But if you have nothing started and it's just like an idea and you're working at like an Arby's right now,
Yeah.
or you have a decent, like, really good job and you want to start something new and scary that's going to be harder for somebody to be supportive of.
Yeah.
And not from like they're a terrible person for not supporting you, just like that's scary stuff.
It's just
And, like,
scary.
if
It's scary for a girl.
you. If it's scary for you, it's going to be scary for your partner.
Oh, yeah. Oh, maximum recording time was reached. We had to start another recording. But, yeah, like, you know, there's nothing, like I've seen a lot of guys who, like, will genuinely get upset with women. Like, oh, they only go for, like, men who have it figured out. Well, like, dude, like, duh. Like that's kind of a part of your gig, dude. Like,
They don't want enough scrub.
yeah, like you have to like get out there and either you have proof that you're earning, or like you can show that that's the potential for what you're doing, or you can make a really good case for that. Like, you know, like you can either whine and cry about it, or you can go like build something. And I genuinely think, especially like live in a first world country, very little holding you back from building like a serious business. There's so many resources out there. Like, don't get petty, dude. Don't spend time getting upset with women. Just like, because there's a lot of that. There's a lot of that in entrepreneur culture. Like, oh, you know, like feeling sorry for yourself. Just like, don't spend time there, dude. Just get to work, build something. You know, and then honestly, like, you know, not at all saying that, you know, the money is the only thing that it. But like once she knew that it was doing well, like that's a big deal. Like that's a big important thing. And it's just like, you know, me seeing in her traits that I am attracted to, because I could see you raising my kids well. Like it's like, you know, she sees that I could provide. I see that she could do well with the kids I want to bring into the world. So it's like, you know, it's like there's a mutual exchange. At the end of the day, there is some transactional elements to any romantic relationship. Right. And you just have to be okay with that. Like, don't get resentful over that. Like, I want her to love me for me is an important concept, and I do believe that you do, but I didn't expect that at the start. And even till today, like, there are certain things that I bring to the table that if I'm unable to bring those things, I would understand if you would expect higher of me. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't bother me, and I think I've gotten there emotionally.
Honestly, like, it challenges you, I feel like, and you've said
you have
that.
To speak up a little bit.
Oh, sorry. You've told me that, it feels like it challenges you in a good way. It's like I push you in ways that encourage you less than like condemn you for that.
Yeah, she doesn't condemn. Like, you never want.
It's not like you better make this.
Yeah,
or
like
we'll be
I've
in trouble,
never
but...
felt that. I've never felt that, and I think if you do get to a point like that, that's a conversation you need to have. Like, it's never, hey, you do this or else. It's more like, I trust that you can do it, and I have all the faith in the world in you, and even when it gets hard, I know that you're going to pull through, and, like, that's a way better motivation than, like I've legitimately seen, like, there's people in the industry, there's men in the industry who do really well, and they've lost their marriages because, like, the woman is like, hey, if you don't make this month, like, it's over, baby. It's like, that's not a good dynamic.
Right.
You know, it's just not a good dynamic. And there's other ways that you provide than money. Mm-hmm. You know, so, like, if we do get married, there's the other means of provision, so...
Right. But short answer is, when do you think is a good time to start dating? At what point in your business is like, start the foundation, have something solid, and then kind of, you know.
Yeah, and even, sorry to interrupt you. I'm not trying to interrupt you. Like, and even like, to simplify it too, like for dudes especially, like not to sound shallow, will open up if you have something that is doing decently well. Like, your options will open up, and it will be way easier for you. So my advice is, it's almost like it just gets easier. Like, you don't just build something that is full-time. I'd say that's like the line in the sand that I'd draw. Mm-hmm. Like, if you can go full-time, you can be like, yeah, this could sustain for at least like a year or two if I just keep the pace that I've got right now. Like, that's probably a good time to seriously start seeking something. Until then, you can go on dates and whatever, but I wouldn't commit if I were you, to be honest with you. And I don't want that to sound like too much pressure, but I feel like that's a good, I think that's good. Yeah.
One that we've kind of answered, sort of. How do you guys handle the sacrifices needed for building a business?
I think we've kind of talked about that. Like, it's a lot of time sacrifices and emotional sacrifices.
Yeah.
Like,
being very understanding, very empathetic.
Very understanding, very empathetic.
Standing up for what you need.
Yeah.
But also a lot of grace for each other.
Yeah.
Oh,
I saw one in here, like, do we have the same beliefs? And I think we've made that pretty clear. Like, yeah, we have the same, I don't really like the word religious, but we have the same religious beliefs. Same faith. Because I think religion pulls in ideas of, like, organized religion and, like... Ritualistic, legalistic. Yeah, I don't think I'm that, but I...
kind of dig Jesus.
Yeah, both believe in God, both believe Christ is who he says he is, and have very foundational principles that derive from those things, and that allows us to communicate on a very important, meaningful level about most topics.
Adds a lot of structure to relationship and to, like, business as well.
Yeah. Like today I had a call with a student, and I literally couldn't answer a question of his. This is one of our higher tiers. So we've got, like, our main tier program, which we throw most people into. And if you're doing like at least 15,000 a month, you know, we'll do group calls, and then you'll get some one-on-one with me. And this is one of those. And he was like, dude, sometimes I get scared. And I'm like, well, you know, I literally couldn't answer that question without interjecting my faith, because I believe there's good forces and evil forces. Mm-hmm. And I believe, you know, the evil forces want you to feel that fear. So I think it plays a really important role in my business and how I think, my faith. And that's also why I've known that I'm not going to end up with a girl who doesn't have the same faith. It's just, I can't do that. And it's not that they are by any means less valuable, that you can't deal with them, but like, I want us to be able to think on that same wavelength. And so I think you should find, you know, even if you don't have a Christian worldview, find someone with similar worldview. Like, you don't want somebody that you have to challenge their worldview. You don't want to change them into you.
Right.
Because it's just, you're going to waste your time. So
similar values are incredibly important. And like, I would, you know, be open to other points of view and be open to hearing truth. But, like I didn't want to have to, I've kind of done that with a past relationship where they've kind of been a Christian, they went to church, and I was like, oh yeah, that's good enough. Like, we'll develop our faith together. And like,
right.
We were unequally yoked.
Yeah.
And that just made it, there was a lot of tension in our relationship. Cause then, you know, Christian and they're not as solid of a Christian, it's a lot of tension. Like, they think that you think you're better than them. And, like, feel that love and peace, and all those good things. And they're like, well, you know, they think that you think you're better than them, and that's completely not the case.
That's
it's
with
just
most things that you believe.
Right.
like entrepreneurship in general. Like, you know, she gets it. It's not that she necessarily herself runs this yet, which we're working on, but you know, like, she understands the principle behind it. And so it's like, it's not like I have to make a case. And this is most of my past relationships, that was the case. Like, I never really ended up committing to any of these girls, but I did go on a lot of dates, you know, growing up, 17, 18, 19, and even up until I met her, like, dates every now and again. And most of them were like, so how does it work? Like, you know, are you sure that's really what you want to do? And I just couldn't do that. I didn't want to have to make a case. One of the best things about Lily was from the start, she was like, yep, love it. That looks great. Awesome. And I think a lot of that, you know, it was working at the time that I met you. So it's that for sure. So, well, sweet. I think this has been good. Are there any other questions that kind of stand out?
Well, I think we should answer Hannah's.
Oh yeah, sure.
Favorite movie to watch together?
Favorite movie to watch together, and then favorite coffee shop. Very, very like coupley questions. Yeah. I don't know.
Favorite coffee shop's Bovacanti.
Bovacanti Coffee. Our first date.
And I work at Coffee House 5.
Yeah, if you're in Indiana, Bovacanti
in Fountain Square.
In Fountain Square was our first date.
So good.
Great place.
Favorite
and then,
movie? We don't really. You like to watch Star Wars. I like to watch.
Oh, I freaking love Star Wars.
Yeah, I like Star Wars too.
Yeah, I mean, Star Wars.
Favorite show to watch together though is Avatar: The Last Airbender and Gilmore Girls.
Oh my gosh, yeah, she got me into Gilmore Girls. So freaking.
I love that.
So freaking. It's like the cheesiest romantic comedy bull crap.
It is kind of, but I love it.
It's the most unproductive thing you could possibly watch.
I like this one from Hannah. It's what's y'all's favorite thing about each other?
Favorite thing about each other? I just appreciate your patience and your understanding, and that even when I am and can be hard to deal with, that you see the reason why and work through it with me, and that you are just supportive on a core level, not a very surface level, and that you understand why I do what I do, and you see that, and you encourage that. Yeah. And she's pretty. It's very pretty.
Oh my goodness.
What was yours? Let's not get too cheesy on camera. People are probably going to click away. They're going to be like, oh, shut up.
I'm like, it's gross.
Yeah, sorry.
My favorite thing about you is just like the same thing is like you have a lot of understanding and empathy and grace with me in my own challenges and when I'm difficult to deal with, and you don't handle it with an obligatory attitude. You handle it with a lot of love and care, and that you just push me past like things that I think that I'm capable of, and you do it in a very approachable, caring way. It's not like you have to do this or I won't love you. It's I see more in you than you do right now, and I think that you can do it. So you're just very encouraging and very you push me past or to be action oriented and
cool.
Yeah, I think
I'm not paying her to say that.
Not at all. Yeah, just we complement each other really, really well.
Yeah.
And so I appreciate that about us.
Well, cool. I think that's been a good video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I'll have her back on the channel sometime soon if you guys want another one. Otherwise, this has been good. And I'm never going to plug her socials. You guys will not be able to find her. I'm never going to say her last name. I'm never going to put her Instagram anywhere. No freaking way. Absolutely not happening. So don't look. But besides that, thanks you guys for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. It's going to be hard to plug anything in this video because it's very businessy, so I'm not going to do that. So hopefully you guys just enjoyed. I feel like
good to meet you.
Yeah, yeah. And she'll be back soon, I bet. So, yeah, just want to make this video just so you guys had like a better idea of what personal life looks like for me. I'll probably bring on like even family members and stuff like that because, you know, I think
Good to have a holistic view, especially in like business. Is like
Yeah.
it's a big thing I want to work on when I get my own business working. Is like having a holistic view of life, and like your life is not business. It's a big part of it, and it's really important and beautiful, and
Yeah.
you're doing amazing, by the way.
Yeah.
But you have to have everything
Yeah.
working well.
You
How
have
you
to
do
have-
anything is how you do everything.
how you do anything is how you do everything. Like, and there are different areas of your life that you have to work on, and like the biggest one that I neglect is family. That's my biggest neglection. And so like I have business freaking on, like locked freaking in. I've got like fitness, you know, I can run 7 miles if I have to. Like I've got all these things locked in, but then like, yeah, I'm just humble bragging completely. But you know, like then it's like family, and I really slack in that area. And it's just part of being a 20-year-old guy, and I recognize that. But you can also really hurt feelings. And so I'm wanting a holistically good thing, and I want to make a frick load of money and doing very, very well, but not sacrificing important things along the way. And that's a big shift in my mentality even from like a year ago. Like a year ago, I'd just been like, screw everything. I'm just going to go do really well and frick everything. I don't even care. And that's just not a good place to be. Do not get there. I guarantee you you'll regret it. Look at your life holistically. Get things in place that you're proud of, that you can be happy with. And it'll actually make running your business easier. And every single multiple 7-figure entrepreneur that I know that is a dude that is in their like 30s and up, that is sustaining, has a healthy relationship with their wife. Like it's just a consistent thing that I'm seeing. And not that I'm just dating you so that I can have a better business, but like, you know.
You can't have one without the other.
You
and
really
still
can't.
have a good life.
You
Like,
really can't. Like I do not believe you can as a
You
guy.
have to have like some level of success in whatever realm that is for you.
Yeah.
And have something that is fulfilling for you personally.
Yeah.
And then you also have to have your relationships that love and support you and fulfill you in that way. So.
Yep, 100%. So I'll end the video there. Thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.